Hey everybody, Marisa here from She Knows Crypto, doing this week's news roundup of cryptocurrency live. So I'm trying to do a simulcast to my own timeline, as well as into my Facebook group, She Knows Crypto. So we'll see how that works from a technology perspective. So I'm not sure how many of you have paid attention or seen this before, but each week I do a short video about the headlines in cryptocurrency for the week, focusing more on like the macro level trends as opposed to what new hot ICO is coming out or predictions about the different market volatility and that sort of thing. So I give a few headlines, some commentary. I typically email it out to my group. It's been formerly known as the Crypto Cocktail Hour, which is a cute name, but it's not really an hour. It's kind of usually about 10 minutes. And I don't always have a cocktail like now. That's a long day of work. I will later for sure. So we are rebranding this to be the Crypto Corner. So She Knows Crypto, Crypto Corner, coming to you every week live, and then I'll also post it to my YouTube channel tomorrow. So yeah, what's going on in crypto this week? First of all, markets kind of down, which again, I always say gives people the blues when the markets are down and Bitcoin's only about 7,000, and everybody still remembers the glory days when it was 20,000 in December. So people are just looking for that bottom right now. And we'll talk a little bit about that in one of the headlines. In general, when we talk about the crypto news, a lot of people ask me, where do I get the crypto news? Where's a good place to get crypto news? So I'll be honest, I use Feedly. And I just have a bunch of different sources all dump into one place and sift through it that way, either on a daily or every other day basis as I'm able to do that. Also do Google notifications. But I personally have not found a very credible source for cryptocurrency news, like one good place that really deep dives. What I do notice a lot, and you see this in the cryptocurrency news, is that a lot of the news articles, structurally, I'd like to talk about, the news articles about crypto are catchy headlines that sometimes are just look like clickbait and they have nothing to do with the actual article, which I try to mention a lot of times. They're very short, and they've got a ton of ads. So one of the places that I generally go to is CCN, which is Crypto Coin News. It's a Norwegian-based, but it's full of clickbait, and they're trying to sell you something. So in the vein of content strategy, the purpose of content strategy, especially in the crypto market, is really, really dense. Hey, Alexander, thanks for joining. It's really, really dense, and all they're trying to do is crank out as much as possible. So if you've got one of these Feedly type things that are set up, you're just going to see just a diarrhea of information and just short, tiny blips to try to get your attention, because a lot of the news outlets are selling advertisement. They're selling advertisement for ICOs, especially since there's a ban on them for Google ads and for Facebook and pretty much coming everywhere else. It's very hard for me to promote my education through Facebook because of all those bans. So they go to these news outlets and they're trying to crank out news stories that are clickbait. So when you do take a look at the news, blog posts, especially even YouTube, any other videos, really take a look and try to look for the meat. And that's what I do when I do this news roundup each week. I try to look for the meat. So I've got a lot to cover. Today, it looked like it was kind of a flat, kind of boring news week, but I found some good tidbits. So let's dive into the news this week. We'll start quickly with Coinbase. Coinbase owns GDAX, which some of you may use, and they've rebranded it to Coinbase Pro. Why Pro? GDAX has that UI look and feel, kind of like a Bloomberg screen, a lot of analysis for traders. So it's got a lot of other features, a lot of bells and whistles that the regular Coinbase, for people that are more noobs, that just want to buy a little bit of Bitcoin and keep it in their vault. So that's I guess they're going with the branding, that's the light, as opposed to Coinbase Pro. So if you're looking for GDAX and you're wondering what this Coinbase Pro is, it's just GDAX rebranded. Next today, if you're in Europe, you may have noticed that there were some problems with the Visa payments. People were going to buy Visa wherever, at a restaurant or a bar late Friday night, and all of the Visa payments were declined. So Reddit lit up and said, oh my goodness, we need Bitcoin. We need peer-to-peer transactions because we can't rely on Visa. And, you know, I think they're kind of shouting out here a little bit too early that Visa's going down. It turns out, or at least what they said, is that it was a hardware problem. They weren't hacked. So one of the reasons to go to blockchain or peer-to-peer on the blockchain is because of the cryptography, because it can't be hacked. And theoretically, Visa can. So Visa's saying that it was a hardware issue and they fixed it and no problem. But again, when I talk about adoption, and I do quite often, what's going to be the trigger for mass adoption? It's going to be some type of crisis or loss of faith or confidence in our financial institutions, governments, or intermediaries. So this is a little blip that way. A couple hours, the Visa's going down and Reddit is aflame. Oh, we've all got to switch to cryptocurrency. Slow down. It's a good idea, but not quite there yet. It was only down for a couple of hours. If you tuned in last week, I talked a little bit about Bitcoin price manipulation due to whales, as they call them, which is essentially people or institutions going in buying big chunks to manipulate the price. So there was an interesting article that came out this week that says there's no evidence of whales manipulating Bitcoin. That doesn't happen. Again, if you're curious as to what I'm talking about with this whale market manipulation, check out the YouTube, search for She Knows Crypto. It's last week's Crypto Cocktail Hour News Roundup. So essentially this article, again, and it so annoys me, is the headline says no evidence for whales manipulating Bitcoin. Then it goes into talk about the entrance of the CME and the CBOE futures markets that happened in December. And essentially they're saying that had nothing to do with the price crashing. So the futures markets started trading Bitcoin and the Bitcoin crashed. It went from 20,000, it's down to 7,000, and it's all because of that. That's not exactly the same thing. That's not the only type of whale in these institutional type of markets, these derivative markets. And he's got a good point because the shorts contracts match the long contracts. So that volatility, and if you don't understand that, don't worry about it, but it's a good point. What he is saying is that we're seeing a lot of small speculative retail traders that are liquidating or cashing out their long positions. So what does that mean? Retail traders. So small guys, any of these, crypto opportunists over the last 6 to 8 months that maybe bought in at 3,000, saw the price peak and see it coming down, and they're buying on the way down, or they're selling on the way down. So that sell pressure that we talked about last week, where you've got a lot of people looking to sell and not as many to buy, that drags the price down. So that makes sense too. But then he goes on to say that there may be still whales manipulating, since they pumped in a lot up until December, and then we've seen that price go down. So great article about the futures markets and how that's impacted the Bitcoin price over the last several months, but it doesn't really debunk, at least from my perspective, that whales are manipulating the market. So they still technically can. So again, if you want to check out last week's more detailed explanation on that, whales manipulating the market, you can find that on YouTube. Search for She Knows Crypto and check out last week's news roundup. Next, I get a question all the time: what is the best exchange to use? What is a good exchange? What's the best experience? And actually, an interesting article came out this week is that 80% of cryptocurrency exchanges have dropped out of the wayside or actually don't exist anymore. That existed 2 years ago. So when people ask me what's the best one, I don't think it's even invented yet. The UI still sucks. The customer service still sucks for most of them. The KYC process is ridiculous for people. The KYC is actually trying to register on these online exchanges. So we may not have what's deemed the best exchange that is existing right now. So essentially all that means is there's a lot of turnover in the current cryptocurrency exchange market. Get in wherever you can and get started. If you're still looking to start with cryptocurrency, get your feet wet. Wherever you're able to register and buy a little bit of Bitcoin, start with that. But don't wait for the good one to come, because there's a lot of turnover. And also we're looking at a lot of regulation coming up, especially with the US and the EU. So it's kind of a wait and see if whatever you're using now is even going to be around next year. Another interesting article about a Wall Street exodus. And maybe you've seen a lot of headlines of some Wall Street bigwigs that are exiting Wall Street and going into cryptocurrency. So Wall Street's not that sexy anymore. Why? Like, that used to be, you went to school and you wanted to be an investment banker and, like the Billionaire show on Netflix and, make bank and get your Lambo. Not so much anymore. And I was hoping that it was because of, the innovation and the promise of this technology. But it's not. It's basically greed. And what one guy said, he said he used to work for BlackRock, and he said it really just doesn't make any sense to work at BlackRock anymore, because the one-day volatility of his portfolio is essentially as much as his annual salary used to be. So in a day, he could do better than he did in a year. And that's a Wall Street guy talking. So basically what these guys are trying to do is capitalize on this volatility, which is a dangerous, dangerous game. I'd love to say that they're coming in trying to spark innovation and adoption. That's apparently not happening. So we are going to continue to see more exodus from the Wall Streets and having folks come into these cryptocurrency and blockchain startups. Going along with the greed trend, what we have seen, and this is a study that was done by Boston College, is that on average, anybody that invested in ICOs in the last year made about 82% profit in 2 months. So all those crypto bros over the last year, they're making bank and they're investment geniuses. They're not. You basically couldn't lose. And I will stay with how I similarly expressed and felt about ICOs, is that they're still kind of MLM, pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme. There's not a whole lot backing them. And it's basically, basically a pyramid scheme. Get in early and sell quickly. So that 82% profit is in 2 months. They got in pre-ICO or even after a little bit after it was listed, boom, 82% sold and got out. So what does that mean? What does that mean for that guy that's holding that coin right now? If you're somebody that's holding Golem, that was ICO'd in December 2016, skyrocketed with the or skyrocketed actually for the Golem folks with the uptick in the Ethereum price. But it's been kind of flat, and they've had a bunch of time to develop their platform, and it's been kind of just inching along there a little bit. So yeah, lots of profits that have been made, and when I hear people talk about bubble of cryptocurrency, I think ICO, because we're going to see a lot of people holding these tokens, trying to sell them and make bank down the line, and noticing that they're not appreciating value because there's nobody else to sell them to, because that project's not doing anything and they have no rights. Could be a possible scenario. Again, I don't like to make predictions, but could be a possible scenario. A lot coming out this week and in the last few weeks about the Bitcoin price, about it coming down. Where's the bottom? Could it hit 5,000? I take a look at the analysis, and they're, especially with CoinDesk, they do a really good analysis of the trends, and they're looking for trends to say, Bitcoin's trying to fight back this week, but it's not a bull market reversal, which means a rebound for that we're back. Bear market reversal, going into a bull market where we're going to see an upswing. So what they're looking is for trends, for movement trends and momentum. So if it's making a shift, can that shift last long term? And I personally just feel that cryptocurrency as an asset class doesn't behave that way. It can turn on a dime. So looking at all of this analysis and modern portfolio theory and all different types of simulations, it's really a different asset class. So when you're looking at this speculation about where the Bitcoin price is going to go, keep that in mind. It does not behave like any other asset class. I typically don't like to talk about, on the last headline, I typically don't like to talk about who's saying what about buying or selling Bitcoin or the prices. If it's some celebrity or Warren Buffett says, boo, it's a scam, or this guy says that. But quite interesting, the CEO of Pantera, which, disclaimer, is a U.S. Bitcoin firm, is saying that now is the time to buy Bitcoin ahead of these institutional investors. So big hedge funds, all these large investment funds that are highly regulated are coming into the market in the next 3 to 4 months. So when they come into the market, that's going to be, that's going to be an influx, and that's going to be a big price jump. So if you've got an established position a couple months beforehand, and that actually does happen, you'll be on the ride for the upswing. So he does make sense in that statement that if that does happen, we should start seeing a rebound in the price because of supply and demand. So that is the headlines for this week. A feature that I like to do in the news roundup is called the shit coin of the week, since I'm such a fan of ICOs. So which coin is shit this week? There is an ICO coming out very soon called UBEX, UBEX, and it is essentially described as artificial intelligence for marketing and advertising. If you look at the cover of the white paper, it literally looks like the Terminator movie. It's got a human and like a Terminator head, and just the concept scares me. Today, I'm always an instance of aggressive advertising. I am not a fan of aggressive advertising. I don't even like pop-ups. When you go to a website and they pop up the screen and say, give me your email address, I really don't like that. I got a chat bot in Facebook Messenger, and there was no way to unsubscribe it. And every so often I'm getting this message. It's like, hey, you want to buy this thing? You want to buy my course? I'm like, dude, I thought you were my friend. I thought you were like giving me some information. And now every day you're gonna ask me to buy something, and there's no like unsubscribe or anything like that. So let's put some AI into that. Oh my goodness, that is just it. The concept alone is a bit terrifying. I'm sure marketers really love it, but the concept alone is a little bit terrifying. Not to mention the cover of the white paper that has the Terminator and a human head to head like this. They've got a very long white paper, a lot of math in it. To be honest, I didn't dive and read the entire thing, but I'm always leery, and I like to give the shitcoin as an example of certain features to look out for with ICOs. And one of them is when the website about the ICO above the fold looks like, a QVC kind of late night shopping network sale where it's got a ticker and it's got a discount and it's got stuff flashing. Excuse me, before they even tell you what the thing is, they're just trying to get you to buy it. To me, that's a red flag. If your project's good enough, throw up a video, but it's very salesy. And again, this is another project that hasn't actually created any code. So they're talking about artificial intelligence, which is a very big emerging technology right now. It has been actually for the last several of years. So they're talking about AI, and if you look at their timeline, they've done a lot of math in their white paper, they've done a lot of research, there's a lot of flow charts, there's no code. And they talk about developing a prototype in October. And again, I say this all the time, with the traditional VC and startup model, you do a proof of concept, you get a couple 100,000. You build some type of prototype, some type of app, if it works and it's tested, maybe you get your first seed, you get $1 million or so, something like that. Well, these guys have nothing, and they're asking for 20 million, which is kind of par for the course for ICOs. So if you're taking a look at an ICO and you're like, crap, this looks like a really good concept. If they're asking for 20 million bucks and they haven't done anything, red flag. I haven't delivered anything, haven't created anything. All they did was make a video and a white paper and do some math. The other red flag that I like to talk about as well is how much goes to the team. So 15% of that $20 million US dollars worth of crypto goes to the management team. It does say that it's locked for a year, but again, these things aren't performance-based, and the ICO market's not regulated. If you buy their token, you got zero rights. They take that 20 million, they go off to Bali, you can't do anything. Never mind. That might be good so we don't have AI with advertising. It's scary for me. But yeah, that's UBEX, artificial intelligence for advertisers. Scary stuff. And yeah, go to the page. It's ubex.com, and if you click the white paper, it's got the Terminator. It's coming. They're taking over, starting with this ICO. A little bit scary. So that's the news and the shitcoin of the week for this week. Trying to experiment with some different formats. If you're watching on my personal timeline and you're more interested in getting some more crypto content that's educational and no bullshit, straightforward kind of stuff, jump over to the She Knows Crypto group. I'll put the link at the end of the live in the comments so you can do that. If you're watching from the group, thanks so much for watching. If you're watching the replay, that's awesome. Give me a hashtag replay in the comments. We'd really love to see folks watching this today and tomorrow. I will also continue to post them on YouTube as well, trying to figure out the best way to distribute this. But I definitely like doing this live. We'd love to have people jump on and ask questions. That would be great. And I will end this for my personal timeline. And thank you so much to any friends that were joining. And again, I'll put the link if you want to tune in next week for the cryptocurrency news, and I'll go to the Q&A in the group. Oh, there's Sharon. Hi, Sharon. I couldn't see you. So yeah, again, experimenting with a different format for delivering content to you guys. Want to do... Oop. I don't even know what that was. Not sure what's going on with my first technical Facebook Live simulcast to two different things. Maybe we won't do that next week. But I will for sure be doing lives every single day on different topics. So if you've got some things you'd like me to talk about each day, let me know. I'll do a quick tip or discussion or editorial opinion each day this month to see how that goes. Sue I is asking, she says, do you know anything about Dash Coin? Dash Coin? Not really sure which you mean. Yeah, if you're interested in getting special segments on particular coins, I can do that as well. That's best to be approached the day before because I don't have all the coins in my head. There are literally over 4,000 cryptocurrencies and tokens out there. So it would help to know them just at least a day in advance so I can check out what the price is, maybe look at the white paper. I'm thinking about doing definitely for the top 10, top 20 coins, do some Q&As there. So I will be jumping in here essentially every day for this next month to try to help you guys out, give you some tips, interact, hopefully some useful information for you. Every Friday, the live will be the Crypto Corner, which was formerly known as the Crypto Cocktail Hour. Again, it's not an hour. I don't have a cocktail. I don't have a cocktail yet, but I will. So if you've got any feedback on this format, on any of the content, please leave it in the comments, whether you're watching this live or you're watching a replay. Give me a little hashtag replay. And anything else, I'm here for you guys all month. I'm going to be live talking to you, interacting with you, trying to create better resources. Again, sticking with the principle of I'm not going to teach you how to be a millionaire with cryptocurrency. That's not a thing. Anybody that says I will teach you to be a millionaire with cryptocurrency, run away. They are not a crypto expert because this market is moving too fast. It's too volatile. It's in its infancy, and we can't be predictive about it. What I want to do is be able to cut through all the hype because there's a lot of that out there. There's a lot of crypto opportunists selling a lot of shit coins. And when this does become more widely used and more widely adopted, I want you to know how to keep it safe because you're going to have to do it yourself. You're not going to have a bank to be able to put it in a vault for you or protect it online. You're going to have to be able to do it yourself. And the best ways to transact and the different types of coins based on what your investment strategy is, your risk tolerance, all of that fun stuff that we don't like to think about. No, let me put it a different way. Based on your values, what are your values as a person? That we can apply those directly to investing. Do you want to be risky with stuff? Do you want to let it ride on red type of thing? Are you looking for something that's more of a nest egg that's going to be creating a more stable and secure financial future for you? That's what I want to help you guys with. So I'll be in here, basically every day. So if anyone has a suggestion for tomorrow's topic, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the video. Bye.